Hi guys, thank you for tuning in. Okay, this is a general reading for the week of April 9th through the 15th. Let's see what the cards would like to tell us. This is interesting. So, your center card is the Ace of Cups. Okay, and the first thing that popped out at me here is to get out of the way, to not get involved with things that may not necessarily concern you, to kind of focus on solitude, focus on being in your own this week. Because the first card that came up was the Ten of Swords. So something is finished or coming to an end, right? And it's time to move on from that, move forward. Right after that, I have the Eight of Swords. So it's possible you may be keeping yourself in a certain mentality, in a certain situation. You may not have moved on from it mentally or emotionally. It may still be on your mind. You may still be kind of affected or engulfed in this situation. It may have happened last week, for example, but you're still thinking about it. You're still reviewing it. It may still be on your mind. But the Three of Wands suggests to no longer get involved, to try to move on from it, to see it from a distance, to let it be resolved as it will be resolved. Your presence is not necessary there for things to fall into place. It is no longer necessary to go back and try to change the situation or change how things happen, maybe justify it or try to clear things up. I mean, it is done. It is over with. The battle has been fought, so to speak. Okay, and all you can do at this point is manage your own feelings, manage your own thoughts, try to move forward, move on from this by focusing on yourself, by, maybe retreating into solitude, spending some time alone or just doing your own thing, focusing on yourself, right? Because what is done is done. Leave the drama behind, leave the situation behind, leave the conversations behind. Really try to move forward from it because the situation has happened, right? But you may not still have fully moved on from it. Okay. Right, you have to either side of this Ace of Cups, right? I have the Nine of Pentacles, so solitude, peace, kind of retreat and do your own thing, spend some time alone. And then to the right of that, I have the King of Wands. So, stand your ground. Again, if there were mistakes or you did something that perhaps you would have done differently, just accept it. Stand your ground, be strong, be decisive. Decide to move on from this. Decide that, you know what, I may have made mistakes, or I did the right thing, or this person may not see my point of view, or this project is over, this conflict is over. I'm getting a feeling it has to do something with a situation overall that includes other people, which, I mean, That's not so far-fetched. It's not going to include, animals or your furniture. So, right, a situation involving others, but you need to be decisive. You need to stand your ground and be confident, right? And just whether or not you were in the wrong, this situation has passed. You have moved on. Or you have not moved on. The situation has moved on. We are past that, right? And then the last three cards, Seven of Swords. You may have acted rashly, impulsively, or inappropriately. There may be a little bit of second thought. Maybe I should have done this differently. Maybe I should have behaved differently. Maybe I did not approach things in the best way. And again, the devil, there may be temptation there to go back and resolve, to go back and justify, to prove yourself, right? Whether it is because you feel you may have made a mistake, or you may have not approached things, or because it's tempting to justify. See, you were in the wrong, or you see, I was right all along. It may be tempting to go back into this, but again, get out of the way, right? Whatever is happening, whatever leave it behind. Let it fall into place. Let things happen as they will happen, right? Whether or not you feel that you are in the wrong or in the right. I'm getting a little more that you may feel a little bit of regret, or a little bit of, you kind of wish that you could do things over, or, this week may be a time of wanting to revisit or go back to a situation and kind of try to make things right. But again, what's done is done. What's in the past is in the past. And this reading really suggests to me to just get out of the way. Don't re-involve yourself. Or if it's something else that your name maybe come up, don't involve yourself. Kind of stay out of the situation. Because it's very possible that if you come into this temptation to get involved again, or to justify or reopen that conversation after the dust has settled, and I'm getting that it has settled or is settling, stirring that up again may make things worse. It may cause, you may look back on it and think, I should have just left it how it was, right? Just let the chips fall where they may. That's really what I'm getting from this reading for this week. Again, it may not apply to everybody, but I feel like some people may need to hear this. Let the chips fall where they may. This feeling of perhaps being trapped in this situation in your mind, it's playing over and over, or being tempted to kind of reopen the conversation and try to maybe fix things, or it may not have turned out how you liked. It may not have happened how you wanted it to happen. And there's just this temptation, this urge, this impulse to fix it, or to put the chess pieces, in a position where you are happy now walking away from it. It's kind of almost like closure. That's how I want it to be left. That's how I want to leave it. Well, what's done is done. And the best course of action would be to, again, be with yourself, focus on your hobbies, solitude, peace, maybe meditate, or go out, walk in nature. I mean, it sounds all very cheesy, but I'm sure you know what I mean. Just do something that really kind of feeds the soul, and be confident in that, and just make the decision to not look back. Make the decision to no longer get involved, and be mindful of this temptation, which could apply to anything, a relationship, a work situation, maybe a conflict with a friend, possibly a regretful action, maybe a drunken night, or something involving substance abuse, or a way you acted towards a family member. It could involve any number of things. But again, try not to be impulsive because it may make things worse. Try not to get involved again. Really try to move forward and stay out of harm's way is really what I'm getting. Whoops. And it's interesting because all of this is around the Ace of Cups. All of this is surrounding the Ace of Cups. So it's very possible that this is a lesson in self-love. For example, accept that you behaved how you behaved, or things ended how they ended, or whatever happened. Accept that it cannot be fixed, or you cannot change how you are perceived or how the situation is perceived. This is part of self-love. This is part of growth. This is part of acceptance and accepting yourself and accepting that things are the way they are. Because from what the cards are telling me, there may be a strong temptation to just get involved again, or really try to just change things up. You're not happy with something. You're not happy with the way something turned out. You're not happy with how you're being perceived. You may not be happy about how you behave, but you must accept that this is what it is. And the most you can do is learn from it. Make the decision to move on. Make the decision to learn from it. Spend time with yourself. Dedicate some time to feeding the soul. This is part of self-love. This is part of learning to love yourself, learning to accept the circumstances, because you cannot go in the past. You cannot change the way things turned out. You cannot change the way you behaved. I mean, we live in the now, in the moment, right? And it may be tempting, or there may be feelings of discomfort, wanting to, not understanding why. There could even be, not understanding why it all happened how it happened. Not understanding why, what is this, what's going on, or maybe not even understanding the feelings you have right now. And that might be why there's an urge to go back or change a situation, change words that were said, change, maybe even dishes that were thrown, change a course of action that you took, right? But I'm getting here that's not the right thing to do, to not meddle. Let's see if there's anything else for this week, please. Okay. So joy, focus on joy, focus on trying to just be happy where you are. Be happy that, and this might not resonate at the moment, but be happy that it happened. Be happy that, again, feelings of discomfort, feelings of regret, that's not bad. Feelings of temptation, urges, that's not bad. That's teaching you something. If you want to go back and change your behavior, change your result, or change something that has been finished, right? It's a lesson, or it's an indicator to you that you may not be comfortable with the way things turned out. Why? Why are you unhappy with this result, or unhappy with this past happening? Maybe dig into that and explore, well, maybe I'm ashamed of how I behaved, or maybe I really, I have an expectation I'm still holding on to, or I'm extremely disappointed that things didn't turn out the way they turned out. Sorry, I'm disappointed they didn't turn out how I wanted them to, or how I believed they would. But again, you may be holding yourself in these thoughts, this disappointment, these feelings. Only you can liberate yourself from feeling this way. And the way to do that is self-love and acceptance, and just being happy that this happened, that now you have these lessons, now you've learned. And if it's a recurring lesson, a recurring pattern, then it's something that needs to be learned from. But again, you can walk away. Your feet are not bound. You are keeping yourself in this state of wanting to go back, wanting to change, of impulsivity. That's not to say that you are to blame. Not at all. Again, these feelings are indicators of something you're not happy with, hence the urge to go back and make a change, right? So this is an opportunity to learn. This is a lesson. And last card, Eight of Wands, just let the chips fall where they may. Love yourself and accept yourself as you're experiencing perhaps these feelings of blame or guilt or regret or temptation. As you are going through these impulses, having these urges, really kind of try to ground yourself and just accept that we are human, that people make mistakes, that you may be made mistakes, and that you may be a little bit ashamed or embarrassed of how things turned out, how you behaved or how you spoke or how you reacted, etc. But just let the chips fall where they may. Do not stir up the dust as it is settling. Okay, that's all I have for this week. I hope that was helpful, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you for watching.